The hospital waiting room was loud with crying children, ringing phones, and tired voices. I was just another stranger waiting for news about my elderly neighbor after driving him to the emergency room. I thought it would be an ordinary evening filled with long hours and quiet worry. Then everything changed in a single heartbeat. A frightened young woman rushed toward me, grabbed my arm with shaking hands, and whispered, "Please, tell them you're my husband." I had never seen her before in my life. Before we begin, if you enjoy heartwarming stories that remind us how powerful kindness can be, please take a second to subscribe to Kindness Story, like this video, and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support helps us share more stories that bring hope to people everywhere. I stood there frozen, trying to understand what was happening. Her face was pale, her eyes were filled with tears, and she looked more terrified than anyone I had ever met. Before I could ask a single question, a nurse walked toward us. The young woman looked into my eyes with silent desperation. It wasn't the look of someone trying to trick me. It was the look of someone whose world was falling apart. Without thinking too much, I nodded. "Yes," I quietly told the nurse. "I'm here with her." The nurse relaxed immediately and guided us into a private consultation room. As soon as the door closed, the young woman burst into tears. "I'm so sorry," she cried. "I know this makes no sense." I handed her a box of tissues. "It's okay," I said softly. "Just tell me what's going on." She took a deep breath before speaking. "My name is Emily. My little daughter, Lily, was brought here after collapsing at school. The doctors need permission for emergency surgery, but they won't let me sign because of a paperwork problem. Her father left years ago. My phone was stolen yesterday. I can't reach anyone. They kept asking if another parent or spouse was here." She lowered her head. "I panicked when I saw you sitting alone." My heart sank. This wasn't about lying for money. It was about a scared mother trying to save her child. A doctor entered the room carrying a folder. He explained Lily's condition carefully. The surgery couldn't wait much longer. While hospital staff continued sorting out the legal paperwork, every minute felt precious. Emily held my hand so tightly I could feel it shaking. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. "You don't have to face this alone," I told her. For the next hour, I stayed beside her. I made phone calls from my own cell phone using the numbers she remembered. We finally reached her older sister, who immediately started driving toward the hospital from another city. While we waited, I bought Emily coffee she barely touched. She kept apologizing for dragging me into her nightmare. I smiled gently. Sometimes strangers become family for a little while. She cried even harder after hearing those words. Eventually, her sister arrived, bringing identification and the documents the hospital needed. The paperwork was completed quickly. Lily was rushed into surgery. Emily hugged me before following the doctors. "Thank you," she whispered. "I don't even know your name." "My name is Daniel." "I'll never forget you, Daniel." The surgery lasted nearly 4 hours. I should have gone home. I had work the next morning. My dinner had long gone cold. But something inside me wouldn't let me leave. When the surgeon finally walked into the waiting room with a tired smile, everyone stood up. The surgery was successful. Emily collapsed into tears of relief. Her sister hugged her tightly. Without warning, Emily turned and hugged me too. Not because I had saved her daughter. The doctors had done that. She hugged me because I had stayed. Sometimes, staying beside someone is the greatest kindness we can offer. I quietly left the hospital that night without saying much. Life slowly returned to normal. Months passed. I almost forgot about that incredible evening. Then, one Saturday morning, someone knocked on my front door. Standing there was Emily. Beside her stood a little girl with bright eyes holding a handmade card. "This is Lily," Emily said with a smile. The little girl stepped forward. "Mom says you helped save me." I smiled. "I think your mom is the brave one." Lily handed me the card. Inside were colorful crayon drawings of a hospital, 3 smiling stick figures holding hands, and 1 sentence written in careful handwriting. "Thank you for being there." I couldn't stop smiling. Emily explained that Lily had recovered completely and was back in school. She had wanted to thank me in person for months but didn't know where I lived until one of the hospital volunteers helped reconnect us. Then she surprised me again. Emily had started volunteering every weekend at the same hospital. She sat with families waiting through difficult nights, brought coffee to exhausted parents, and comforted people who had nobody else beside them. "I realized something," she said. "That night, kindness saved more than my daughter. It reminded me that good people still exist." Lily nodded proudly. "I help too," she said. "I draw pictures for kids in the children's wing." I laughed. "I bet they love them." "They do." Before leaving, Emily looked at me with the same eyes I had seen months earlier. But this time they weren't filled with fear. They were filled with peace. "You were a stranger," she said. "Now you're part of our story forever." After they left, I placed Lily's handmade card on my bookshelf. Every time life feels busy or stressful, I look at it. It reminds me that kindness doesn't always require money. It doesn't always require perfect words. Sometimes kindness is answering a cry for help. Sometimes it's sitting beside someone who feels alone. Sometimes it's simply choosing not to walk away. We spend so much time wondering whether one person can really make a difference. The answer is yes. One conversation can change someone's day. One act of compassion can restore someone's hope. One stranger can become the reason another family never gives up. You may never know whose life you're touching with a simple act of kindness. But that doesn't make it any less meaningful. So the next time someone needs a little help, don't underestimate the power of showing up. Hold a door, offer a listening ear, share a smile, or stand beside someone who's carrying more than they can handle. Small acts of kindness often create stories that last a lifetime. And just like Emily, Lily, and one ordinary stranger discovered in a crowded hospital, the greatest miracles sometimes begin with a single moment of compassion.